Hi, everybody. So I'm so excited to find you back on there. And
Yes.
now everyone's finding us, Laura. So hello.
Hi. Hi. It's so good to see you.
You too. And welcome to Substack Live, right? Something that I've been trying to do more of. And so I'm so excited to welcome you here. Do you like how I just like cozy up with a blanket? I don't know if you guys
I do. Yes.
on my sofa. But everyone, I am so excited to have Laura here. And you're going to hear more about her work. But basically, Laura is the best selling author of two books that really changed my life. One is We Are the Luckiest, and the second is Push Off From Here, 9 Essential Truths to Get You Through Sobriety and Everything Else. I love that part. But most profoundly, I think, for so many of us, she's the founder of the Luckiest Club, which is an incredible online sobriety support group. And what I love, Laura, is how you say it's for people who are looking to get and stay sober, right? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
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 Amazing. Well, to give everyone some context, I haven't been drinking for 4 years, right? I've been sober for 4 years. And it's one of those things where I think people are still afraid to talk about it out loud a lot. And so anytime I mention it in passing, I get all of these DMs being like, tell me more.
Yeah.
And I was just in a social situation for 4 days in Texas celebrating my dad's life. And we were doing a lot of things socially. And I could still feel that, like, oh, you don't drink. What do you do? How do you react? And I was like, you know what? It's time to talk about this again. So why not talk about it with the person who, you guys, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but Laura is the reason. Her work is the thing that compelled me to finally just say, I'm not going to drink anymore. And I know I'm not alone in that. She probably hears it every day, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But to give you the skinny on my situation is 4 years ago, it was pandemic time, and I just kept having that little voice in my head. You drink at night and you wake up at 2 in the morning with that anxiety. And it was like, why am I doing this? Why do I need alcohol in my life? And it just wasn't serving me. And I knew it. But you guys, I downloaded her book, We Are the Luckiest, because I'd been hearing about Laura and I read from it. And I just listened to some of it again this morning when I woke up. And I was like, I'm doing this. Like, if this woman has the courage to just put it all out there and tell it exactly like it is, I'm
Yeah.
doing this. And lucky for me, she had already started the Luckiest Club, which is this incredible online support group where you can show your face or not. You can do whatever you want. And it was the exact thing I needed to get confirmation that this was actually going to be probably the best decision I'd ever made. And so that is my introduction to you, Laura.
Wow. Do you still feel like it's the best decision you've ever made?
100%. And I think the reason I wanted to come back to this conversation, and I mean, you guys, I urge you to read her books or listen to them on Audible, because the reasons behind why and how she decided to quit, really why, they're so powerful. And I know that it's the best thing, but I feel like it's been long enough now, Laura, where it doesn't even feel like it was hard anymore. And I know that that is not true for most people, right? Like, I just know every day, I know it's the best thing I ever did for myself, for my health, for my mental well-being, for my spirit, for everything.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel the same way.
I do. And like you, I don't think about it. It's been 11 years for me, 11 and a half years.
Right.
So I'm it's far in the distance, the days of actively trying to not drink or missing it or uh even feeling like I have to try to remember.
Right. That's incredible.
But yes, I mean, none of my life would be possible or happening the way it has if I kept drinking.
Right. Right. And I almost don't even ask, like, why did you drink? Because for me, it became so apparent once I got a couple months of sobriety behind me. But is there, like, if somebody asks you that, is there an automatic answer for you why you thought you drank in the first place?
Right. It's a complicated answer, and there's a very long version, which is
Yeah.
my first book, and then there's shorter versions. But I would say the shortest version is something like I didn't know how to be in my own body
Yeah.
and mind.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable. It was too uncomfortable.
I think that when you boil it down and when people start to talk about recovery, which is in my mind, it's just addressing what it was that got you drinking alcohol or consuming anything else in excess in the first place, whether it's sex or shopping or food or anything else.
Right.
But it's to mask some sort of pain because it's so uncomfortable to just be and sit in whatever is happening to us that we want a way to get ourselves out of it.
100%. And that manifests in, that sounds very dramatic, like you're walking through the world in this intense pain. And
Mhm.
sometimes it was like that, but more often than not, it is smaller, sort of everyday interactions, like showing up to a party or a dinner where you know, don't know people that well, or you scratchy and awkward, right?
Mhm.
Or going on a first date, or sex for the first time with someone, or going to a funeral.
It's all of those things.
So it's but like it doesn't start for me. It didn't start as this. Oh my god, I'm in existential pain, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, no, me neither.
You learn that alcohol, because it's so ubiquitous in our culture, and because it's so available, and because it's encouraged, and everyone does it, you learn kind of by accident how powerful it is. And then it takes you.
Right. That is a beautiful way of saying it. And as I kept listening to you, and again, if you read her books, you'll understand how Laura found the courage to quit. That's a really long story. And I feel like now you've provided us with some tools that I am so grateful for. And the thing that I just keep coming back on in your work is that when you were about 2 months into sobriety, a woman reached out to you because you've been, very vocal about this path you were on. She said, how can I help someone? And Laura came up with this list of things that you said you still needed to hear daily.
Mhm.
And when I looked back on it today, because this is part of the Luckiest Club, I think that this is what has resonated with me so deeply.
Yeah.
And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to read them
That's
and
fine.
if you have anything to add to them, but I'll just let them soak in, sit with people for a second. The first one is it is not your fault. Second, it is your responsibility, which I think is a big one for people to grapple with sometimes.
Mhm.
It is unfair that this is your thing. But number four, this is your thing. Five, this will never stop being your thing until you face it. Six, you can't do it alone. Seven, only you can do it. Eight, I love you. And nine, I will never stop reminding you of these things.
Mhm.
It's so profound, but did you just start to write this to yourself or how did you come up with this?
I wrote it when I was writing this response to this woman, and she had written to me about her sister.
Mhm.
She was just searching for the right thing to say. So, because when you love someone, I always say it's like two different addresses in hell. Like, being addicted and loving someone who's in active addiction are both terrible. And when you're the person who loves someone, and if you haven't experienced it yourself, you are running the gamut of feelings all the time. And you're afraid of losing them. You're afraid of pushing them away. You're sad. You're scared,
Mhm.
very scared. You're heartbroken. I mean, it includes almost everything. And she just didn't know what to say. This was her sister, and she loved her, and she was also like, it had been going on for a long time, and she'd had some significant losses, and she just didn't. She wanted the magical thing to say to let her know how much she loved her, but also that she needed to take it seriously, but also that um, she was afraid, all of the things that she wanted a way to communicate all the things without pushing her away. And so I wrote her this long letter, and then those things were at the end because I was
It's
like,
so,
might be too much. So just say these 9 things. And so I wrote them as I was writing that. And yeah.
it's so beautiful. And I think the thing that struck me, and they read them at the end of every Luckiest Club meeting online, is that I love the fact that it's like, okay, this isn't something that I think when it's like, it's not your fault, that helps remove the shame of it all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, we all have something that we turn towards to mask pain or to try to make our lives easy, right? So alcohol is it for some people, but like I said, it could be one of many other things. But it is your responsibility. And I think that to me, and again, it's unfair, feels unfair that it's your thing, but guess what? It is your thing.
Yeah.
And you're the only one who can face it. And I think that that's such an interesting thing to turn it back on self to say it's an inside job. Like it is an inside
Like,
job.
yeah. You can't that's all of these points are are paradox. And
Mhm.
that's I think why they work is because it's never just one thing and to think multiple things are always true at once, at least in any sort of real piece of wisdom, there's multiple things true at the same time. And one of those that you're touching on is you can't do it alone. Like everyone wants to do it alone because they don't want to be seen having a problem. They don't want to be seen for all the shame that they're in. They don't want to be seen trying and failing. And it's awful and vulnerable. And I couldn't do it by myself. I don't think you
Yeah.
can do any significant life thing alone. Maybe you can muscle it out for a while, but in the long run, it's too lonely and too hard. But also, you can't do it alone. Like no one, it is an inside job too,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
no one's gonna. I mean, I realized like because I did those mental negotiations that a lot of people do, where it's like if I'm on this plane traveling for work and I drink through the flight, no one's gonna know. Nothing.
Exactly.
And I had so many things like that in my head all the time, and finally realized like I know I'm the
You
only
know.
I'm the only one who's gonna stop me in those moments. I'm the one I have to face, right?
Yes.
Ultimately, you're the only one who can do it, and you can't do it alone.
Right, and I think that the, other line that I love so much is that the opposite of addiction is connection, and that is what it's really easy. I still have friends to this day who are like, "You didn't have a drinking problem." I'm like, "It doesn't matter what anybody else perceives it to be." In my mind, it was not serving me, and as you ask, the question to ask yourself is, "Are you free?" And in my mind, I wasn't free from this thing. And that doesn't mean there aren't other things that I could struggle with or other things I need to kind of face, right? As I think about why I liked to drink in the first place. But truly, it wasn't until it was normalized for me and that I met all of these people online in the Luckiest Club that I was like, this is so not a big deal in ways. It's like we're all just dealing with our shit and we're just trying our best every day to wake up and handle what life is throwing us.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
The saying normal is just what you're used to. So if you think normal is everyone drinks all the time and everyone cares about drinking and everyone cares about my drinking, it's going to be very strange to not drink. But what you realize when you start to not drink and get sober and there's so much sobriety out there.
Oh my god. And I mean, it actually thank God for Gen Z. They're like, my neighbors downstairs are 24 and yes, they drink, but they're like, "No, on Friday night we go do yoga." They're like the cutest guys. We'll make kombucha, we'll hang out. Like they have more interests. They want to be physically active. They know the science behind it and the cold hard facts that like alcohol is simply toxic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm very, very happy about that turn in drinking.
Yeah. And, I think that as I started to kind of undo the layers, like once I got past the fact that, I can't even remember honestly how long it took me to be like, yeah, I just don't drink anymore. I mean, I think a couple months before I felt
You
really
mean to
comfortable
say it?
to say, yeah, I to say it and to acknowledge it that first thing wasn't like, I'm bored, I'm lonely, I'm in a ton of physical pain.
Yeah.
Right. It was just like the first thing I could do because I've had so much physical pain for so long.
Yeah.
It just stopped being an option for me, right? And I think it was a couple months, and to say it took longer, honestly. I think I had a couple people say some things that should not matter to me, but they really hurt. Like,
Yeah.
really, really just kinda like, "Ugh," like, how was this ever a problem in the first place? And, I mean, forget about the fact that it was pretty much what led to my dad's passing, ultimately over time. But I think the hardest thing for me has been, as I've kind of peeled back the layers of why, is that the emotion that was the rawest for me that kept showing up and continues to show up is shame. And it's a lot, it's lessened dramatically. And it's something that I suffer from with other parts of my life as well.
Yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about any experience you've had with shame around alcohol and, what you've done to
Sorry, I'm laughing because it's like, how much time do we have, Amanda?
know, right?
Shame.
Ah, shame.
Just that little topic of shame.
Uh-huh.
Um, sorry. That yes.
It is funny. I mean, it's funny because it's like some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm so good. And other days I'm like, God damn it, shame. And this was my biggest, but I've still got it in a lot of things. That's probably why I drank in the first place.
Yeah, well, for me, for sure. I feel like I don't my earliest memories are of being ashamed.
Yeah. In
Um,
life, you're saying, not just like as a kid or drinking.
Maybe before drinking.
Yeah.
Just ashamed of having I mean, that's the thing about feeling about shame is it leaks everywhere. It's like a gas
Yeah.
that leaks everywhere into your life. Because the underlying message that produces it is just like something's wrong with me.
Yep.
I'm not
Bro-
okay. I'm not something is wrong.
Mhm.
And it's like a pre-verbal thing. It's a feeling more than a thought.
It's
It's
a feeling.
it's an embarrassment. It's a awkwardness, extreme awkwardness. It's just I'm not okay, right?
Right.
And those were the first. That's like the earliest body memories that I have
God.
is just I'm not. There's something wrong with me.
Uh-huh.
And I was afraid of, not afraid. I was ashamed of my feelings. I was ashamed of my thoughts. I was ashamed of the way I talked. I was ashamed. I mean, it's just like everywhere. I was ashamed of if I liked someone
Ugh.
or if and then, as I got to be a teenager, like I was afraid of my body. The way I put it in We're the Luckiest is like I was ashamed before I have ever had any reasons to be. And then and drinking certainly helped with that.
Right.
Ease that, make you more comfortable, lower your inhibitions, sort of
Mhm.
allowed me to be who I was or who I wanted to be, both of those things without all the mental gymnastics. But the cost is eventually it caused shame. And then it caused more like, and then I had actual reasons to be ashamed.
Yes. Yes.
Then I was lying and I was cheating and I was, I mean, the deceit and the amount of work that I had to like lying, not just about my drinking, but lying everywhere and just being this dishonest person. Or, I would say things that I didn't want to say. I would do things I didn't want to do. So you're like building this like avalanche snowball of shame while also trying to rid yourself of it while drinking. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so by the time I went to try to stop, I mean, that kept me from trying to stop because
Yeah.
I knew that on the other side of that, I had to face all kinds of shit
Of course.
and all kinds of very real regrets and mistakes that I had caused.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not even to mention like the deeper things underneath. So a lot of people and then you add in the layer of I got addicted, right? Like
Right.
all the things that the culture tells us about that. So I lost control. I am too weak. I can't control myself. I'm a woman who can't control herself. I'm a mom who can't control herself. Like I don't know anything worse than being a mom who drinks too
Yeah.
much, so
Right.
all of that is just like one big dumpster fire of shame.
Right.
And the upside or the promise on the other side of it is only when I started to talk about all of it.
Yep.
And I learned that from others. Like, I
Right.
saw people do it, say things that I thought only I felt, only I saw,
Exactly.
only I had experienced, things that would have made me want to die before I would ever say them out loud, and saw people say them and they were just fine.
Hmm.
And it freed me. And then I started to talk about it too. And that's, I mean, I always love the Brene Brown quote of shame. If you put shame in a petri dish, it needs three things to grow exponentially: silence, secrecy, and judgment.
God. True.
So and that's what you're doing when you're staying in addiction. It's just more silence, more secrecy, more judgment. And that is usually part of a big family system of silence, secrecy, and judgment.
For sure.
And when you start to talk about it, when you start to tell the secrets, when you start to shed light, when you start to be honest, it's really hard and it's really painful, but also the shame, it's like an antiseptic, like the shame.
Yep.
Yeah, the shame can finally dissipate.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean, like, I was laughing because we had planned to do this, and beforehand I went and got a coffee, and I'll say this because there's no way this guy is on here, but I have randomly today got into this flirtatious conversation with this guy who lives in my town.
Yeah.
And long story short, I had a terrible breakup 2 years ago.
Mm.
And I've dated two people very briefly since. Nothing came of that. And I'm just like, I'm not in that space right now. I'm not doing that. This
Hmm.
is the first interaction I've had like that in
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
And it was very banal and, like, innocent. But basically the guy said, he asked me out, sort of, and I was like, "Are you asking me out?" He said, "Yes, but want you to know I'm also not up for anything serious right now. And you're a catch, and I'm guess, you just, it seems like you just, in respectfully, you deserve and probably need more than I'm able to give right now." And I was like, past me would have been like, "Oh, it's fine, whatever." Said, "I appreciate your honesty, and I'm not signing up for something that's set up that way from the beginning."
Can I high
And
five you right now? It's like, that's a big deal.
it's a huge deal for me. And I cried in my car. And I'm like driving here back home to talk to you. And I was like, "Oh, Amanda won't care if I
I
cry."
won't care. And you know what? It's like, it's exactly what Brene says, but like you say it, and immediately I'm like, I feel that so deeply. And for me, that's just progress. That's, that's recovery, actually.
It is. And I'm bringing it up because I, this is the area where I have like the original shame, like
Mm.
this vulnerability with men
Right.
and the deepest shame.
Mhm.
And I'm still totally working through that. And when I started to cry, I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" It's
Yeah. What
like,
are the tears for?
well, it's like I'm just still so tender there.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
And and uh, the child part of me was like, "Thank you,
Yes.
not going
Doing
along."
that. Yeah. For saying that you like trying to please somebody else or compromising what it is you
Or
actually need or want.
it was fine. Like, this is a conversation I have had hundreds of times.
Right.
And, the risk is like, "Oh, I don't want to come off as like, do I want something serious?" Or
Yeah, exactly. God forbid we say that that's something we're interested in. Right.
yeah, or just like I should be taken seriously. There's all these things that you don't want to be or I don't want to be. And it was like, fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'm not I'm not worrying about what you feel. And this guy is nice. Like,
No, for sure. Right. And like, God bless his honesty. Like, I'd rather have a straight shooter than someone who's like, no, I'm super interested. And then you're like, wait, what happened? Right.
right. So anyway, you asked about shame, and
Yeah.
it's everywhere. But God, I was dying of shame.
Dying.
Dying all the time when
Hmm.
I was drinking, and I don't feel that way anymore.
Mm-mm.
Um, it's certainly not about drinking. I lost the shame about addiction and drinking very early on. Like, for whatever
That's amazing.
that part was like, I just didn't see it as something that was wrong with me.
Amen. I feel like I lost it pretty quickly too. Even though it was the story in my family that it's like something you should be so deeply ashamed of. What I
Yeah.
ended up thinking was like we are all hurting. And we are all and maybe not even hurting, just trying to understand how to be in our own bodies
Yeah.
without leaving it and dealing with uncomfortable things without leaving it. And again, alcohol just happens to be a really accessible way to do that.
And it
Right?
really works.
Weed now everywhere, whatever. Like, um, sex. I think even sex is more acceptable. Shopping's more acceptable. Eating on some levels maybe more acceptable.
Yeah.
Um, to be determined. But it's just we're all dealing with stuff. So I too left that behind, and I think I just felt more compassion when people are looking at me and being like, "Oh shit, she's not drinking. She knows something about me." And that is you might be drinking, having a drink tonight for all the fun like social lubrication we need. It might be something else, but we're just human, right? We're just trying to get through the day.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
same. Same as you. For whatever reason, that part of I didn't have that part. It was like,
Right.
nah, we're all kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I actually really believe that, and it makes me just love human beings more than ever, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So, okay, I was gonna ask you something because I've been having a really hard time just living in this world right now, but I'm very curious. I'm gonna shift because this could be a whole nother conversation, like how we stay grounded without alcohol and like use sobriety to just like not lose our shit in 2026. However, I know your next book is about relationships, and I read your post here on Substack. You guys, she has the best Substack. Just follow Laura McKowen, but it's called Love Story. And your next book is about relationships. And I've written and written and written because I think I'm eventually supposed to write about relationships and all of this stuff in my life. But you wrote this great piece on how your ex did not want you writing about him. And so this is kind of a complicated question. And that tell us about how you're framing up the book and how you're able to talk about relationship with others while potentially not being able to go there in some ways. Like, are you just tackling bigger subjects about yourself?
Um, so I don't think there is a way to my friend Alyssa Altman, who has an amazing Substack and is mentioned in the post you're talking about
Yeah.
because she has done all kinds of work around permission as an author and specifically as a memoirist. Um, wrote this beautiful comment on that post. So everyone should go read it because I'm going to kind of paraphrase what she said, which is feels true to me. Like, there is no way to write about one's life without writing about other people.
Right.
So there is no way for me to avoid writing about other people, especially in a book about relationships.
Yeah.
So I'm not avoiding that, but there's so much um there's so much intention and discipline and thought and questioning about one's motives that goes into what you include and why
Right.
and what serves the larger story and what doesn't versus what is something you just want to get off your chest, which is what
Right.
we're talking about. Like, you don't write to settle scores.
No.
As a reader, you can feel when that's happening, even if the person deserves it. It still feels like, ugh, we don't. I feel like I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching.
Right. 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 Right.
Um, so this particular ex is one of many relationships that I've had. So, and I don't know exactly how I'm dealing with it all yet, but um, because I'm still in the process of writing it.
Yeah.
I don't. There's just no way to be. The piece I wrote was really about. Well, there's two parts. It's like what stories are ours to tell, which
Beautiful.
which is like the permission piece that Alyssa
Yeah.
writes. But there's also the like, why do I do this in the first place? Why write when it costs so much?
Oh, I love that thought actually, because I ask myself that all the time.
Who doesn't? What kind of, how could you not?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's hard
Yeah.
and it's painful. It's scary. It's not financially rewarding in terms of like if you if you if you did like an hourly rate for a book,
Oh my God. Don't get me started. Don't
it's
get
so
me started.
ridiculous. But and yet so those are the questions that I'm really interested in right now and that I've been asked to look at because I think this is the thing that and I don't know if this is related to what you're asking, but when I was writing about my addiction and getting sober, I was mostly taking the hits on the chin myself.
Right. 1000, 100%. You did.
There were other people involved. I did have to write about other people, but it was me mostly. And this book is too. It's also me, but it's because I'm writing about my childhood more because I mean it's just different. M- I have to include more people and include them differently and probably
Yeah.
more deeply. So
Well, and when does it come out? Is it too soon to ask that?
yeah,
Whatever. Yeah, you're still just like it's such a and you probably don't have a title yet for it either.
I don't.
Okay. Well, I think that it will be a beautiful next chapter in the stories that you've told because Laura, if you haven't grasped this yet, everybody, Laura is a genius and she is a genius writer and articulator of profound thoughts. And I think that your work, I'll try not to get too emotional, has truly changed people's lives
Mhm.
for the reason that you were willing to put into words your story and without unfiltered, just exactly like it was. And you have made it safe for me and thousands of others at this point to just kind of own up to who we are as human beings.
Thanks.
And so I can't wait to read your next book because I think the next piece of any recovery or any just like trying to show up in the world is how do we do relationship with other people? And yes, my decision to quit drinking will really affect that, but it's not like you quit alcohol and suddenly all of those other things go away. Like the shame thing, what you're talking about with that guy in the coffee shop, you are talking about my core trauma, right? Like it's
So
with men and it's with so many people. And so I guess I just want to say thank you because you have shined a light on so much for us that is making it okay to walk around and be human. And by the way, love you even more. Like I just am so grateful for your voice in the world.
oh, you too. I'm so glad this happened, and I deeply appreciate you. I know it's been a while since we connected, and it was so
I
nice.
know. Well, I've been a rusty Luckiest Club member. So that too. Do you still do your early meeting for West Coast? East
Tuesdays.
Coast.
Yeah.
Tuesdays at 8 a.m. East Coast, 5 a.m. It's
Yeah.
my new goal. I'm getting closer to 6 starting my day every day, but
I
5
agree.
a.m.
Still early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's early, but just I probably feel more connected to you because I witness your work all the time still out in the world. And so you guys, this I wasn't meaning for this to be a plug, but if there you're welcome to ask me anything, DM me anything, ask me on here about how I quit drinking, but a lot of it has to do with Laura. And so if you're curious and you're out for a walk and you want to download one of her books, the first one, We Are the Luckiest, I think is a great place to start and then push off from here. And always, I will plug the Luckiest Club because it's the coolest online support system on earth.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh my gosh. And so let's be in close touch. And
Yeah.
as your book does come to fruition, I can't wait to share it with the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your day and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye.